The enigmatic charm of Carlo, a tale of unexpected allure. Carlo Montesi wasn't the kind of man who turned heads on the street. At 55, his thinning hair was streaked with silver, his face lined with the marks of a life lived without the luxuries of wealth or beauty. His clothes, while clean, were plain, and his apartment was modest, a small, tidy space in the quieter part of town. By all accounts, Carlo was ordinary. But there was one thing about Carlo that wasn't ordinary at all. Every night, he found himself in the company of a different woman, captivated by his presence, his conversation, and, as many would confess, his inexplicable charm. It wasn't about money. Carlo wasn't rich, nor was it about looks. Carlo himself would joke about his classic dad bod and his perpetually mismatched socks. What then was it about this man that made women of all ages and backgrounds gravitate towards him? Let's find out. Carlo's story began on a rainy evening at a cozy little cafe near Piazza delle Rose. He wasn't there to meet anyone in particular, just to escape the downpour and enjoy his favorite cappuccino. As he sat by the window, a woman, drenched from the rain, rushed in and dropped her umbrella. Carlo, with a warm smile, handed it back to her. "Looks like the rain has its own plans tonight," he said, his voice calm and melodic. The woman laughed, a little embarrassed. "Seems like it. And I left my good umbrella at home." Carlo motioned to the seat across from him. "Care to join me? Misery loves company." She hesitated, then sat down. What followed was an effortless conversation. Carlo asked about her, truly listened, and responded with stories of his own that were funny, thoughtful, and occasionally self-deprecating. They laughed, talked about books and travel, and before long, the woman found herself leaning in, captivated. By the end of the evening, she didn't want to leave. Neither did Carlo. Carlo's charm wasn't a trick or a strategy. It was something more genuine, more profound. He made everyone feel seen. Carlo had an uncanny ability to make people feel like they were the only person in the room. He listened intently, remembered details, and asked questions that showed he genuinely cared. His confidence was quiet, but unshakable. Carlo didn't brag or boast. Instead, he carried himself with a quiet confidence that came from being comfortable in his own skin. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. He was just being himself, and that authenticity was magnetic. He knew how to laugh at life. Whether it was a bad date, a failed business venture, or the awkwardness of being caught singing in the shower, Carlo could find humor in anything. His laughter was contagious, disarming even the most skeptical hearts. He was a storyteller. Carlo could turn the most mundane events into gripping tales. A trip to the grocery store became an adventure. A flat tire on the highway turned into a hilarious comedy of errors. Women loved the way he painted the world with his words. He didn't chase, he invited. Carlo never tried too hard. He didn't use pickup lines or gimmicks. Instead, he created an environment where women felt comfortable approaching him, drawn in by his easygoing nature and genuine interest in connecting. Carlo's admirers were as diverse as the city itself. There was Elena, the high-powered lawyer, who found solace in Carlo's grounded simplicity. Then there was Sophia, the artist who adored his vivid descriptions of life's little wonders. Maria, a single mother, appreciated his kindness and the way he made her laugh after a long, hard day. Each night, Carlo's interactions weren't about seduction. They were about connection. Sometimes they'd go for a late-night walk along the river. Other times, they'd share a meal at a quaint trattoria. And occasionally, those connections deepened into something more intimate. One evening, Carlo met Alessandra. She wasn't like the others. Fiercely independent and guarded, she approached Carlo with curiosity, but also skepticism. "What's your secret?" she asked, narrowing her eyes. "How do you do it?" Carlo chuckled. "Do what?" "Win women over. I've heard about you. Everyone has." Carlo leaned back, sipping his wine. "I don't win anyone over. I just show up as myself. If someone connects with that, it's a gift, not a conquest." For the first time in years, Carlo felt challenged, intrigued. He and Alessandra spent hours talking, and for the first time, Carlo didn't say goodbye at the end of the night. Alessandra stayed, not just for the evening, but for the weeks and months that followed. Carlo's life wasn't about seduction, it was about connection. His ability to attract women wasn't rooted in looks, wealth, or superficial charm, but in his authenticity, kindness, and the way he made people feel. In a world obsessed with appearances, Carlo proved that true allure comes from within. And as he and Alessandra built a life together, Carlo continued to share his stories and laughter, not just with her, but with everyone lucky enough to cross his path. Because in the end, Carlo's greatest gift wasn't his charm, it was his humanity.